Jillian, the Director of Customer Success here at Chorus. I'm with the VP of Marketing, Drew. Today we're going to walk through a little behind the scenes of how we came up with our plant-based foods article. We've gotten a lot of interest on how we actually were able to curate those results, and Drew was the mastermind behind that. So we're going to go through, I'm going to ask him some questions about how he curated it, and then he's going to show you guys the platform. So let's get started.
Sounds great.
So hopefully by now you guys have seen the inside of Chorus. If you haven't, you can actually go to core.us and create a free account. It's totally free, so don't worry about any licensing fees or anything like that. But Drew, how about you talk us through the Meatless Meat survey that you did? What was really your inspiration for doing that survey?
Yeah, it's a great question. So obviously plant-based foods are a huge topic, and one of the things that we were trying to do with this piece and with a lot of our content in general is just find a new angle or something interesting for things that people are talking about. And certainly a lot of our clients are brands and agencies, and they're always thinking about what are the creative ways that we can reach customers, what is somebody else that's successful doing that maybe we could be doing. And so one of the things that I think we all observed is that plant-based food companies were doing a really great job of positioning themselves in a space that's been around for a long time. Vegan foods have, really been around for decades, but haven't quite got the foothold that say, Impossible Meats has gotten recently. So that was really the key driver behind the idea. And then what we really wanted to do was kind of narrow in on what consumer behavior was being impacted by. So was it, a unique marketing message? Was it something else? Was it the societal impact?
Right.
Talk about climate change, whatever. So that was the driver behind the idea.
That's great. So why don't you walk us through maybe a little bit of the creation of this particular survey, and as you're going through, maybe kind of some of the inspiration for the questions.
Yeah, for sure. So this is really cool to do because what we could do is show you the platform in action. As you can see here, this is a landing page for our content surveys. So anything that we're doing about ideas that we think people will find interesting. We had a recent piece about financial tech startups, so you'll see that the FinTech survey here. But as some of you know, when you log in, you'll see all the surveys that are in your organization. The Meatless Food survey here is what we created for the piece that we're talking about. So if I jump into the survey itself, you can see here that we had right off the bat, we wanted to kind of get to the core of who the actual users of the product were, so to speak. So we had done some audience targeting to begin with, but one of the really nice things that you can obviously do in the Chorus platform is include as many screeners as you want. And so our first question was just, have you tried any of these newer startup-y type meatless meat companies, Beyond Meat, Impossible Burger, what have you? And as you can see here, we've got the green over the not familiar at all piece. That was just a redirect to a thank you screen. You don't qualify for the survey.
Right.
So the results that we got were from people that had tried these products. And as we worked as a team, so Jason Abramitis and myself worked very closely on this, one of the things that we really wanted to focus on was not necessarily people that were like evangelists about these products or were already vegan, but really the people that were just trying these for the first time and really what brought them into the fold, and then what was holding them back from potentially incorporating these products into their daily diet or weekly diet shopping or what have you.
Right.
So we really started to focus, and we can go through here on some of the other questions that we asked. We really tried to focus on, one, what was the reason that you tried in the first place, and then two, what would be that, again, holding you back. And that was where the really interesting kind of crux of the article came out, which is that it really was taste for a lot of people, which makes sense now as you think about Burger King's commercials around, it tastes just like a Whopper.
Yeah.
It's getting rid of this idea that it's healthier for you, that I think most people understand that we've got to be doing things for the environment, but moving away from that as your kind of selling point and saying this looks and tastes like real meat,
Right.
and you just get this entirely new audience that's not familiar. So
Yeah, that's great.
So we built out several questions that kind of focused on that. We as you can see here, we wanted to see how much people were spending on a weekly basis on their animal protein or meat intake. You can also see we added a speed trap here. Essentially time on page with the question. We really wanted people to take time to go through that and think through it. So
Yeah.
some of the really nice features of the course made it easy to make this survey work.
Yeah, I think that's a great feature to kind of highlight if we take a pause here, that you can actually determine, are people reading the question? Are they spending time thinking through these answers? So you know that your data set coming back is just that more effective.
Yeah. And so that might be a good point to jump in here. Again, if you're familiar with the course platform, you know that here on the right, you've got a lot of different options for changing the appearance, adding languages. We have machine translation built into the platform, which was actually really great in this instance if we were talking about people with English as a second language here in the States. We did focus just on the US, but it's certainly a growing population that we wanted to make sure that we were able to address. We went obviously global panel, so we interviewed over 700 users of Impossible Meat, Beyond Meat. But down here is where, once the survey is completed, we're able to see the results. So if I pull up the dashboard, this was, just kind of a very quick look at the data as it came in. So this was kind of our starting point to say, is there anything that's outside the bands of confidence? Is there something that looks like a real outlier that we want to drill down into? So
yeah, that's great. And as you mentioned, this is all real-time data. So anytime that you're doing a survey, as soon as you hit that launch button, you can see responses come in, and you know that people are actually active, and you can start to dice your data if you wanted.
Yeah, and that's what, one of the things that we wanted to say is just jump in here to the various questions, right? What were and if I decide to cut by demographics here, was there any major difference between men and women in terms of their reasons for trying? So one of the things I'll highlight here is that we always try to go in percentage values, and you can see that certainly a little bit different on the social and environmental reasons between male and female. I actually thought that this one was pretty interesting, that environmental reasons it was more likely that that would align with males.
Yeah.
Other things pretty much within the bands of competence or margin of error, whatever you want to say. But this was a really interesting place to start, is to say, like, okay, what were the big reasons that people were selecting here? Certainly, looks like a lot of experimental people out there just wanted to try something new.
Yeah.
But so this was kind of how we started to think about, what is it that we wanted to dive into. And then from here, certainly it's really easy to, one, we could export the charts if we wanted to, but being able to download the data into a raw file and pivot tables was really helpful from there to go a little bit deeper on our analysis, which, as the VP of Marketing, obviously not my forte. Working with the team to do that was really helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to add to that, analysis and doing that on your behalf, if you are using the Chorus platform, that is something that we do offer. So we offer hourly guidance support, we offer an analysis. That's something that we can do on your behalf. So for this particular survey, obviously we were able to tap into our resources, but those are also available to everyone else. Yeah,
and it's certainly a great feature. I know a lot of our clients will, similar to sort of this survey, come with an idea of what they want to try to figure out or a story they want to write, and having that guidance to make sure that your questions are actually going to get at the answers that you're looking for is important, or that your questions are not going to set somebody up for the wrong data later is important.
Absolutely. You don't want to imply anything, right?
Yep.
You want to make sure the answers are clean. Just curious, do you eat meatless meat?
Yeah, we do. So my wife, I like to say, enjoys feeding me bird food, and I like to eat, so I have to eat a lot of it. But we first tried the Impossible Burgers when they came out here in Colorado, and the Beyond Meat burgers when they came out in Colorado, and I think they're great. I really enjoyed it, and we generally, I would say, have those once a week.
Yeah.
We're not vegans, but certainly are trying to make more of an effort to be a little bit more plant-based. So yeah, we enjoy them.
Yeah.
What about yourself?
Yeah, no, I definitely participate in plant-based. I do plant-based protein and try to make those efforts as conscious as I can when I can. So, and ironically, I live on a farm, so
Yeah, there you go.
it's a very interesting conversation when it comes up. But yeah, so this has been awesome. Is there any other details or anything else on the back end that you would want to explain to folks?
No, I'd say, we're trying to make this a more ongoing series, so certainly we'll go through all of the pieces that we do from a content perspective, but if there are certain features that you want us to dive into, if there are certain questions that you have, obviously comment below or feel free to reach out to us, support@cor.us. Will come to both of us, and certainly we look forward to kind of continuing the interaction. And yeah, thanks.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody.